Nico Jackson is a top 5 striker in the world. All right, Chelsea fans, breaking this one down for you. Might have been a little bit of an exaggeration, but if we look at the data around Nico Jackson's exciting start to this season, and not only that, but a continuation off of last season, we got something here. It looks like the numbers are good, the data is looking good, and he's passing the eye test. So what I want to do is walk through some of the stats, some of the commentary around Nico Jackson, and see what we think, right? Do we get to the end of it? Is he really top 5 in Europe? Is he outside of the top 5? Is he challenging? Kind of where do we rank him? So I need to see in the comments where you're at on Nico Jackson. So if we remember, he joined from Villarreal last season. At that point, he'd only played a little over a season with them, right? So in 2020, he was in their La Liga 2 team, and he only played 16 matches, 700 minutes. The next season, 2021, he only had 9 matches and 165 minutes for Villarreal in La Liga. So at least he got a bump up, is with a different team, but there's no minutes there. And then finally gets his big breakthrough, as we all know, 2 seasons ago in 2022, 2023, where he played 1,600 minutes, scored 12, assisted 4. That was his big kind of burst, and I believe it was at the end of the La Liga season. Chelsea swooped in, I think surprised a lot of people by making the signing and said, hey, we're going to give this guy a chance. He's a hybrid winger / striker. If you kind of look at the different positions he's played at Villarreal, but Chelsea were bringing him in because we very much needed I guess you can't really say striker these days, but a forward, right? An attacker to score goals, and he was going to be the man. So in his first season at Chelsea, started off rough, more cautions than goals, ended up shaving the head, come back from AFCON and having a really good end of the season. He had 14 goals, 5 assists for 19 total goal contributions. He had 10 yellow cards, so the good news is doubled his goal contributions to yellow cards by the time the season was over. He had an 18.6 XG, underperformed it a little bit, right? Which is, I think, a lot of the cause for concern, missed some sitters, things like that. But at the end of the day, scoring almost a goal every other match was very good, especially with the struggles not only he had, but the team, right? I mean, the team definitely had a dry run in kind of that middle third of the season under Mauricio Pochettino. So far this season, he's got 5 matches played, started all of them, 364 minutes, and he's got 4 goals and 2 assists in the Premier League alone. That is 6 goal contributions in 5 matches, scoring on average a goal a game and assisting every other match. Extremely strong numbers from Nico Jackson. Can he maintain this? Probably not. But hey, while we're in the mode, let's celebrate and enjoy it. So Nico Jackson, top 5 is the statement. So if we look at the Premier League and just go by goals, because that's what it's all about, Erling Haaland leading the way with 10 goals already. Insane. Right. I mean, we can all agree nobody's touching Erling Haaland as long as he wants to. He's got 10 goals in 5 matches, and that is a fantasy Premier League owner's dream. If you don't have him, you are crazy. But let's look at the rest of the table. You got Luis Diaz on 5, and then you got Nico Jackson tied in 3rd with Jean Duran with Aston Villa and Brian Mbeumo of Brentford. And I believe up into his injury, Mbeumo, I believe, takes penalties as well. I don't know if he has any this season, but either way, he's tied in 3rd already, which is great. So 4 goals in the Premier League. That puts him ahead of players like Mohamed Salah, Ollie Watkins. I don't say Isak on this list. I don't see a striker from Arsenal on this list. So I'm feeling pretty good. Not only that, he has 2 assists as well. So he's tied for 5th on the assist leader with 2. So above him would be Mohamed Salah with 4, Cole Palmer with 4, and Bukayo Saka with 5. So again, that 6 goal contributions is putting him at the top of the board when you look at the table. So the good news is Chelsea have actually scored the 2nd most goals so far this season, which is great, right? Man City on 13, Chelsea on 11, Villa 10, Liverpool 10. Obviously, the Wolves match helped, right? But even West Ham, look at that. Off to a good start, averaging over 2 goals a game. That was always going to be a big concern coming into the season, especially when you look at the players that have rotated and things like that. What also makes this impressive for Nico Jackson is that he is doing it with slightly new set of players around him, which again, I think should go towards the pro Nico Jackson consideration in terms of what the team is doing. When, it's not like Liverpool and Man City where they have the same players that have been there for 2, 3, 4 seasons, the same manager. He's got a new manager, right? He's got new players around him rotating. And that's just, a part of what makes this even more impressive and like how it can be a little bit more difficult. So if we look at the West Ham match, right, what we had in attack, you've got Nico Jackson leading the line. You've got Noni Madueke on his right, and you've got Jadon Sancho on his left. Noni Madueke didn't play a lot last season. Jadon Sancho is brand new on loan, and he's got Cole Palmer in behind him, which is a new position for Cole. So again, those 4 supporting players, very new to what they're trying to do. New manager, new system, new players around him, still banging in goals for fun right now, which makes it even more impressive. If we look at Bournemouth, again, Nico Jackson leading the line. You've got Noni Madueke on the right, and this time you've got Pedro Neto on the left for Bournemouth with Cole Palmer in behind. That just goes to show that we've got multiple different players coming in and out depending on the match, and he's still able to show up and do the business. So really strong when it comes to the Premier League, and that's exactly what we want to see from Nico in these situations. When you go to FB Ref, right, and again, I guess to give more context, right, he's only 23, right, extremely young, still raw in a lot of areas, bought on high potential, but he's finding ways to get it done. So at 23 years young, he's got a 3.3 XG, but 4 goals. So now he's overperforming his XG, which is fantastic. On FBref, when you look at similar players, you're seeing names like Alexander Isak, Harry Kane, Ollie Watkins, Marcus Thuram, right? Like, these are much better names than he would have been associated with last season. His ability to score goals, his movement off the ball is way better. But you know what the number one thing I think that is changed for Nico this season? It's got to be he is so much more confident in pulling the trigger earlier. How many times last season did we see him dribble into the keeper, dribble into the defender because he kept trying to get closer and closer and closer until he pulled the trigger? This season, he's putting his foot through the ball. He's got confidence. He knows what he wants to do when he gets in these positions, and he looks sharp. Talk about a guy who made the most of his offseason. Clearly what he did is working, and he looks confident and sharp, which is you have to see. The other thing is he's crushing his take-ons. He's taking on players and getting in behind at a highly successful rate for a forward. It's the level you'd see from a winger. So again, when you look at some of these stats and comparisons of what you can see from him, it is looking really good. So break it down by match. Didn't score against Manchester City. Look, understandable. Tough one. Played 66 minutes. Got a goal and assist against Wolves. Great day out for the attackers, right? Played 67 minutes. And then Crystal Palace, he got the goal. Played 90. Didn't get anything against Bournemouth. Played 78 minutes. And then against West Ham, 2 goals and assist, really padding his stats against the East London team there, all within 63 minutes. So we're able to manage his minutes as well and bring on players like Nkunku and Neto to just destroy teams as they're already tired, which, hey, let's be honest, you love to see it. So far, that's kind of where we're at with Nico in terms of the underlying stats and where we want to see. So as I start to make the argument a little bit of why he's top 5 in Europe, understand that I'm building into this argument. Do I think he's top 5? No, but I think he's overperforming to a level that is getting him recognition amongst the top 5 teams. I think like if we're in the Champions League, there would be significant interest in eyesight on Nico Jackson, which is exactly why Chelsea activated a 2-year extension, right? He's been here not a year and a half, scored 17 goals in all competitions, don't forget the hat trick away to Tottenham, right? Gotta love that. And they've already given an extension till 2033. So clearly the club like what they're seeing. He's on a big contract and he already got an extension to make it even longer. He seems happy. The club's happy. So you know what? Here we go. Let's look at around Europe. So if you go to the top 5 leagues, right? He's within the top 10. He's actually tied for 8th on goals. The only people above him are like a Luis Diaz, Kylian Mbappe, Harry Kane, Robert Lewandowski, Erling Haaland. That's where you can start to make the argument he's knocking on top 5. You go goals per 90, again, he's up there, knocking on the door with the big players, and then chipping in with the assists. So you can start to understand when you look at goals and assists with 6 total goal contributions in the league, he's tied for 7th. And again, the players he's tied with, Vinicius Jr., Luis Diaz, Kylian Mbappe. Above him, Rafinha and Mohamed Salah. Rafinha's having the season of his life. Like, he's playing out of his skin. This won't maintain. Then above that, you've got Lewandowski, Lamine Yamal, Harry Kane, and Erling Haaland. And you can say, Harry Kane in the Bundesliga, easy, walk in the park. Barcelona having a great time in La Liga, probably won't last. I mean, the fact that you've got Yamal, Lewandowski, and Rafinha all there along the top that just shows you what kind of a season Barcelona are having. So he's above players like Bukayo Saka for goals and assists, above players like Ousmane Dembele, even Cole Palmer, right? They're actually tied. So this is the type of season he's having. You don't normally hear Nico Jackson and Vinicius Jr. in the same sentence because one's in the Champions League and the other one's in the Conference League, which, hey, I mean, why not, right? That makes sense to everybody. So Nico, right? Top 5. I look at his radar. I look at who he's compared against. When you look at his radar in the McLaughlin app, this is stuff that the Chelsea faithful have yearned for since Diego Costa. This type of radar, albeit early and only in 364 minutes, is immense. If he can maintain like 2/3 of this for the rest of the season, we are all going to be really, really excited with Nico Jackson, what he has to give to the team. So much so that we can use stats from @FallSwinger on X that gives us a comparison that Nico Jackson's now scored more Premier League goals than Olivier Giroud for Chelsea. We all love Giroud, right? He was a fan favorite. Well, Nico Jackson's already scored more. Granted, Giroud was more of a link-up player, super sub at times. But then he goes on to say he has more non-penalty goals than Alexander Isak, Son Heung-min, and Mohamed Salah since the start of last season. All right? I don't do calendar years. You guys know me. January to... No, we don't do that. This is full Premier League season. Since the beginning of last season, Mohamed Salah in his pocket, Son Heung-min in his pocket, Alexander Isak in his pocket. These are big names. And if we can finally have a striker that we can rely on, that has great movement off the ball, great pace, and is finally starting to put his foot through the ball and scoring goals at a confident level that puts him only behind Erling Haaland in England and only behind Erling Haaland, Robert Lewandowski, and Harry Kane in Europe, yeah, I think we got something. But hey, you tell me in the comments, is Nico Jackson our striker we've been waiting for? Is he top 5 in the top 5 European leagues? Let me know. But until next time, Chelsea fans, you know what to do. Keep the blue flag flying high.